Hey, Tony Jackson here, popping in with a little Sunday sermon. Now, I want to talk to you something I was thinking about because, and I think I've talked about this before, but this is something that I always see plaguing society, and that is where we get so comfortable with being mediocre. We get so comfortable with having an excuse of grace, and we get so comfortable in our hate, in our pain, in our anguish, in our anger, in our frustration. We get comfortable there and we start to make excuses for ourselves. And we start to say, well, I went through this, so I got a right to feel like this. And I went through this, so I got a right to feel like this about that person. And this happened to me, and I got a right to hate. I got a right to be angry. And we are so passionate about our right to a miserable lifestyle, to a mediocre life. And a lot of times we don't realize how much that affects us, and how sweet life can be, and how great life can be, and how peaceful life can be, how blessed life can be if we allow it to. But we come to a place to where we're comfortable in our mess. And you can't get comfortable in your mess like a pig in the mud, because you remember what the good book tells you about casting your pearls to swine. You can't get comfortable in your mess, in your misery, in your problems, to where you normalize those things and that is what life is. But in every area of life, we have to pursue excellence in every area of life. Like every part of your life, work on yourself diligently daily. And you can tackle one area at a time. And it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be pleasurable. It's gonna be hard at times because it's sacrificial. And it's sacrificial love for yourself. I was just laying still. I got this massage chair in my back. I fell off a skateboard playing with my sons in the house in like 2014 or 15 or something, 12. So my back has been in pain ever since then. Like a lot of people back about to be after this crate challenge that people doing. It's about to change their life forever. So it's not excruciating, it's bearable, and it gets better, and I work out and things like that, but so I could live with it, and I don't want surgery. But if it gets tight, I got a massage chair that I get in, and it just loosens up all the muscles around, that lower back. And I was in the chair, and the chair has Bluetooth on it, and so I could play from my phone out the chair, and it come out by my ears. And it's stuff that would be entertaining. I could listen to. It's music I could listen to that I'm studying that could give me also entertainment. And it's YouTube stuff that could be entertaining. And I chose to put on a book by Malcolm Gladwell, which is, a research type book called A Tipping Point. And it's boring, it's boring knowledge. It's doing the boring thing. But in doing that, my mind drifted off, and I started to see visions for my next company. And I started to see the marketing plan. And I started to see the success, the growth, the acquisition. I saw all of that in my mind when my mind drifted off. And I was like, you know what? Had I put on music in the name of let me study this music, this new rap album, to see what the secular world is doing, my mind wouldn't have went there. Had I put on some gossip talk on YouTube or some arguing, some nothingness, my mind wouldn't have went there. But I did what I didn't really want to do, because I felt like, this is kind of boring, studying, learning, while I'm relaxing is not the coolest thing. But it's those little things that in the moment when you say, let me work on my business. In this moment right now, instead of just kicking back and watching TV, let me get my laptop out, my iPad out, or whatever, my Kindle out, and let me read a book, or let me listen to an audio book. Let me listen to something positive like you're listening to right now, when you could be listening to a gossip channel. You listening to this. So you chose to do that boring thing and made it fun, made it cool, made it whatever. And you then see how it adds to your life. And you're like, wow, now I see. It's doing those things that you don't really feel like doing. Like I taught a class yesterday, another example. And right after the class, I was drained because it was a 3-hour class on Zoom. And right after the class, I was like, oh, I'm tired. But I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and create the next class for next Saturday for the next age group, the 36 to 45 year olds. And I shot the intro video and made the page and made the little card and did everything up, and then I posted it on my YouTube community page, posted it in my Instagram story, and I just went ahead and got it done. And there were some people who signed up, and I was like, you know what? It felt so good just getting that done when I was done, instead of procrastinating and then losing that next Saturday of teaching that class. And I say that to say, it's like we have to look at our lives and where we need to grow, where we need to be better. Where do you need to stop procrastinating? Where do you need to be more cleanly? Where do you need to better your house hygiene, your personal hygiene? Because you represent God. When you step into the world, like when someone gets in your car, is your car filthy? When someone comes in your house, is your house filthy? When someone looks at your skin, is your skin taken care of? Like when someone looks at your hair, is your hair taken care of? When someone looks at your nails, are your nails taken care of? Like when someone looks at your children, are their clothes ironed? Or do their clothes fit? Are their clothes clean? Or look at your child's toenails. Is your child's toenails clipped and clean? Is your child's fingernails clipped and clean? Is your child's hair done? Does your child have a bathing routine that you smell under their armpits to make sure they actually bathe? Do they have a toothbrushing routine where they brush in the morning and they brush at night? And a lotioning routine and a face washing routine? You see, we have to pursue excellence in every area of life, and don't settle for mediocrity, because your life could be so much better. It could be so blessed, but it requires work. And see, the work will feel painful in your mind, but when you do it, on the other side of it, when you complete it, you feel accomplished. You feel like, yes, I did it. And it's a constant struggle. And you're going to have an area that you weak in, that you struggle in. For me, it's working out. Y'all see me doing the videos on the workouts. That's hard for me to work out consistently, because my mind is overactive. And when everything goes silent at night, my mind starts to go, and I start to have visions. I start to see everything, hear everything. And I don't like going to sleep at the time my wife and my kids go to sleep. I stay up. When they're asleep, I stay up at least another hour, and just complete silence. And I can hear, and I can envision, or I'm listening to something that has nothing to do with anything, and it's just entertainment. It's just a release. It's just, some documentary or something, just to take my mind off of my work, off of what I have to do and what I've been doing. And, that's just, so guess what? If I stay up late, midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, the next morning, my body is tired. And then my body is tired, so I don't feel like working out. If I'm waking up late, then I'm not eating on a regular schedule. So now my body isn't burning the amount of calories it would typically burn because it's on reserve mode, because it's not getting a breakfast at 8 a.m., a lunch at 11, a snack at 2, dinner at 5 or 6. It's not getting what it needs on a regular schedule, so it'll stop burning as many calories, and so I can go to work out and not really lose weight because my body is on reserve mode, because my sleep has been off. And so for me, that's my struggle. I share that to say, identify your struggle. Identify where you can get started and then you trip up and you fall off and you right back to mediocrity. You do good and then you trip up and you fall off. You right back to mediocrity. And we got to be able to create a routine. So what I say, okay, I'm going to put the phone down by this time. And then I'm going to relax. Then I'm going to go pitch black in the room. Then I'm going to pray. Then, and create a system that helps me get into a sleep zone and find something that works for me. Because what I see on YouTube, what works for you, it may not work for me. But we know our bodies. We know our children. We know our spouse. We know our family. We know our friends. We know what we have to do. But a lot of times doing it, not a lot of times, all the time, it requires discipline. Yesterday, my 7-year-old, he has my old phone and he plays this game called Roblox, and it exercises his brain. And I searched for so long on Google one day trying to find several articles that would tell me gaming is bad for kids, and I could not find one. All of them said gaming is good. It's stretching their mind. It's exercising their mind. It's giving them, it's keeping their brain working and active. And it was a study about, there was a hospital, like a cancer hospital for children, and the ones who had game systems didn't need as much medicine as the ones who didn't have a game system. And it was talking about just the chemical release that the brain was giving their body from that joy, from that elation, from that mental stimulation. So when a game is used in the proper time limits, of course, anything done too much will be bad, and it can stimulate their brain. And so I'm watching Tatum, his articulation is better, like his thinking, his communication, he just really sharp. Like he's 7, but to me he feels 10 in his talking. And that's typically what I see in girls his age, to where they're above in their expression, above the boys. But Tatum can express equally like the girls. And I feel like his brain is just being stimulated more from the workbooks and from the little game type of games he plays. And so it's challenging him. But yesterday, he's on my old phone. So he knows the password. So when he sees he could buy points or buy whatever, he knows how to double click it. And being that he doesn't have my face, he can't do the face ID, but you can type in the password. He remembers my password by heart, which is 10 characters. And so he remembers it by heart. And it's not an easy password, and he remembers it, and he types that password in to buy some new points. And the first time he did it, we were in the Maldives, and so I told him, you can buy some points when you play your game, and just, this is your budget, don't spend more than this. He kept that invitation because I never closed it, and he bought those games, and he spent $210 yesterday on, and it's hooked up to my Apple Card. And so I went to go on my Apple Card to pay for something, and I'm like, Apple Card maxed out. I'm like, what's going on? I recognize charges from my wife and stuff, charges from me, and then he hadn't took it over. I'm like, so I called my wife. I said, listen, you talk to your son about this because I don't know how to talk to him without being too aggressive about this because I'm fire hot. I said, you talk to him about this. And then I said, you get the money out of his safe because he got a little safe that all his birthday money, every birthday for his whole life, he been saving this money. And then he never really spend it. And so, and I said, you get that $210 out of his safe. And when I came home, it was a wad of cash beside my bed. And when I walked in from the garage, he was in his playroom. And I said, your mom talked to you about what you did? I said, you never gonna do that again, are you? I said, the next time you do it, I'm gonna whoop your butt. And he said, I know all y'all ain't on that spare the rod, sport a child. I'm built different. But I don't have to spank my kids. Truthfully, I don't have to spank my kids. I can't remember ever have to give Tatum a spanking, because you could talk to them and they respond. And so, but that's something I said to him, and he was like, okay. And then I went to the room and I'm looking at this $210, and I don't need the $210 like he needed. He don't need it either, but that's a big chunk of his savings. But he did it. He spent the money without permission, and I found it. And so, me knowing that I could give him that much and it's not gonna bankrupt me, I could have just did that and say, you know what, it's whatever, it's a kid, it's a game. But I said, this is principle, because this is stealing. And if this isn't nipped in the bud, you'll create a monster. And that's what my wife said. And I talked to her. I said, thank you for helping with Tate. And she's like, oh, I don't mind being a bad guy. I don't mind at all, because he did that, and you got to stop that right now. Otherwise, 12 years old, we'll have some on our hand. And it's my fault. It's my fault. So I realized with my kids, I'm real soft. I'm real soft with my sons, because it's like I want to give them the world. But if you do that and you don't have enough and you don't chastise them when they need to be chastised, you create a little monster that will have a sense of entitlement. And I know that. That's common sense. We all know that, but do we all do that? Are we all consistent in our love? And love is also chastising those you love when they need to be chastised, the same way God says he does us. But are we consistent in it? See, a lot of times what we'll do is we will give our kids, give to them, love them. And then when they do little stuff, we let it slide, and then we fly off the handle. And so now you spanking them out of anger. You punishing them out of anger. You grounded 5 months when it could have been 5 minutes at 3 years old, 2 minutes, but consistent teaching so that they learn right from wrong, so that they never have to be grounded for 5 months or 5 weeks or whatever. And so this is where what I mean. You notice I mentioned parenting, working out. We will have weaknesses in several areas. So this morning I brushed my teeth, and then after brushing my teeth, I'm the type that I want to take the water and splash it on my face and rub the water with my hand in my eyes, versus washing my whole face, washing my actual face. I want to take me a shortcut, because I'm just being a man. I wasn't raised washing my face. I didn't wash my face till I started breaking out in middle school, and then using Clearasil and Noxzema. But before that, I had no face washing routine because my parents didn't implement that. They the baby of 12, both of them the baby of 12, so they didn't come up in hands-on households that was hygienic and all of that. So a lot of them lessons were not taught to me, and I had to learn over time. And so, but my wife, she's the opposite, and she's very hygienic with our sons, and so they know all of this stuff that I didn't know at their age. So as a grown man, a lady just wrote me and she's asking about the dude that she liked, but she said he's not hygienic. She said he got bad breath and body odor, and I told her that comes from how he was raised. Because had I not learned, as a early 13, then I could have been the same way. But you'll learn sometime by your social, just looking and say, man, why I'm breaking out and everybody else face clear. Oh, went to spend the night at my friend's house. It was 2 boys and a girl. When we got up in the morning, all of them lather up the soap and had a face full of soap. Every morning they washing their whole face. I'm like, whoa, y'all wash y'all face in the morning? And for some people, stay out the comments, because, okay, that's normal for you. Congratulations. God bless you. You ain't got to make nobody feel bad. But for some people, that's what they were taught. And that's what they know. But you only know what you know. And some people, that's not the way. Some people ain't have running water. Some people ain't have soap to waste. Some people ain't, some people just, their life was so rough, so tough. That wasn't on the list of things. How not to get shot was the rule. How not to get beat up, how not to get jumped into a gang was what they was focusing on, not a face full of soap in the morning. And so here's the thing. This morning I took and I washed my face. And now on camera, my face pretty much gonna look the same every video, but I felt different. I felt better. I felt fresher. I'm like, man, like woke me up, revived me a little more. I washed my face with a face wash. Then I used step 2, hyaluronic acid, rubbed that all in. Then I did step 3 with the lotion, with the moisturizer, rubbed that all in. Felt better, felt revived, it woke me up. And so something that simple can change your countenance for the day. Something that simple. What I did with my son yesterday taught him a lesson that I believe he will never do that again. And if he does, he really will have to have an internal battle between good and evil before he makes that decision. And if he makes that decision to do that again, his repercussions are going to be so great, he will then know, he'll then never want to do it again. Because just off yesterday, he got grounded. And so no game. Don't get to play the game, and, just got to do puzzles. He out with his mom right now. They're getting, some running errands. But, that little game time that you get on the weekend, because they can't play during the week. So they only get Friday, Saturday, and a little bit on Sunday before it get too late. So that's just 3 days out of the 7 days. That little bit of game time, you want that time because you've been working hard, doing homework all week. Now that's gone. So that's going to be a lesson. So you notice how every area of our life, and I can only use myself as an example because that's my closest example. So take and equate this to your life and look at your weaknesses, and with everything you do, work as if you're working unto the Lord. And that's convicting my spirit, just letting that come out my mouth, because I'm like, Tony, you got to make sure you stay on top of your body. You got to make sure that you're buffeting your body, like Apostle Paul say, I buffet my body, meaning you got to take care of your body for this here mission, for this here, because your body is your temple. That's your package. When somebody look at you, they're gonna judge you by that, because that's your temple. So not everybody gets to see your house. So your house could be filthy and nobody know it. But if your body is not taken care of, people gonna judge you, and they're gonna say, that's how you love yourself? So you coming in here with scales because you don't like to lotion? You coming in here with a dry face because you don't wash your face and moisturize? You coming in here with crooked tracks because you don't want to invest in your hair? You coming in here, with nappy hair because you don't want to brush your hair in the morning? And so now it's rubbed backwards in every kind of way. Like, take care of you. And I noticed this. Like, I look at pro athletes and I could tell which ones raised themselves. because you could tell by their hair and their skin who was taught hygiene as a child. Because if you're not taught as a child, you're not going to know as a grown man or a grown woman. And you realize that was a parenting fail. But the parent was so wrapped up in just providing a living. Or could have been an addict, or could have been focused on their relationship, or focused on themselves, whatever it was, or didn't have the knowledge from their parents for some of those same reasons. So this is where we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional with the way that we live our life, the way we carry ourselves, and what we do in our life, in every aspect of life. My wife, she used to say to me, and I never thought about it before she said it. She said, I cannot stand when I go to school and I see a mom dressed to the nines, but her sons are in wrinkled clothes, no belt, or the pants don't fit. The pants all bunched up in the front because they too big, because they hand-me-downs from the older child, but the parent driving a very nice luxury car, nice shoes, nice outfit. And I was like, wow. And I remember when that photographer went to my wife at school and said, hey, I want to tell you, you are an amazing mom. Because when we took his shoes off for the photo shoot, because they dress up, so my son had overalls, no shirt up under it, little hat, no shoes on, and holding like a little, shovel or something. And she said, when we took his shoes off, your son's toenails were clipped and clean. She said, you don't want to know some of the stuff we see and smell when kids' shoes come off. She said, you are an amazing parent. Just off of clean toenails, this woman told my wife she's an amazing parent. Something like that, because of what she sees. But what that is attention to detail. It's love, it's care, it's selflessness. Because their toenails will be clipped and clean, and my wife's feet might need to be done. But it is love, selflessness, and care. And so I learned lessons just by looking at other people and how they live their life. And so you don't want to take care of your body, but not take care of your marriage. Because I see a lot of men in the gym with amazing physique, but they in fornication. They in adultery. Their marriage in shambles. I see men with a lot of money, but they don't have love. They don't know how to treat a woman right. They don't have a happy marriage. So guess what? I don't want that. I don't want that. I'd rather my body be decent and in progress than for me to have a 14-pack and my marriage falling apart. So listen, perfection is not attainable, but the pursuit is necessary. So you pursue excellence. You forgive yourself when you slip and fall, but you get back up. You don't wallow in the mud. You're going to slip and fall. You're going to slack in areas. But be intentional and create you a plan, a day schedule, and give your days direction. And when something unexpected pops up and happens, okay, cool. But you got it written down so you know how to jump right back in to your plan. So you get right back into it and you get to going. Hey, this Tony Gaskin, this a painful message. Painful. I might have to do a workout today or something. Do some push-ups, something. Because I'm convicting your spirit. I'm convicting my spirit. I'm in this thing too. I'm not in the knight in shining armor coming in on the white horse. No, I struggle just like you. So where I struggle, I know you struggle. I don't want you to struggle just like I don't want me to struggle. I want to win. I want you to win. Listen, we could do this. Change that lineage. Dispel the myths. End those generational curses. Change things up. Set something new in place and pass that down. Pass that down. This Tony Gaskins. God bless you. We'll talk soon.